Okay, here our task is testing an argument form for validity. Okay, we're gonna understand whether an argument form is valid or not. So here is the method. Here, of course, the first thing that you should do is to identify here in the argument the premises and the conclusion. Of course, you have to understand the premises and the conclusion. All right. And the second task is, well, this is gonna take time here. We have to construct a truth table for each of them, for each of the premises, okay, and the conclusion. So we have to see the truth values for each premises and the conclusion at the same time. So we seek for a table, just one table here, right? And the third thing is we have to check each row, and we have to indeed search for critical rows. Okay, what we mean by this critical rows is a row. This is indeed a row in which all premises are true. Right, I'm gonna give you an example and then you're gonna understand that clearly. Okay, you're gonna find those critical rows here and you're gonna understand if and check if conclusions have any false value in the critical rows. Okay, if there is some false, there is one false in the conclusion column, in conclusion column corresponding to a critical row, all right, then it is invalid, sorry, right? It is invalid. So if there is some false, then it will be invalid. Otherwise, it will be valid. It will be valid here. Okay, so let me now apply what I mean by this testing here. Okay, so all right, so let me give you an argument here. Okay, so suppose this is the example. P implies Q is your first premise and P is your second premise here. Okay, and the conclusion is Q. All right, so let us discuss this here, whether this argument is valid or invalid. It's very simple. You're gonna obtain the table first of all, right? So this is P implies Q, right? And we have already the conclusion Q. So this is the conclusion, all right? And this is premise 1, and this is already the premise, I think, 2. Okay, all right, so this is true. All right, I made something wrong. Right, I have to do something here, I'm sorry, something like this. So true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. All right, so if P implies Q, we know those things here. True, 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 false gives false, all right? False, true gives true, and false, false gives true again. All right, so let us rewrite here the conclusion. True, false, true, and false here. Okay, so premise 1 and premise 2. So there is just here, you see, just one row is the critical row, here, because in this row, premise 1 and premise 2 are true. On the other rows, we don't see any such cases here. And in this critical row, in case premise 1 is true and in case premise 2 is true, it implies that the conclusion is true. So there is nothing wrong here. So this is valid. All right. So let me discuss another case, another argument here. P implies Q is given to you, Q is given to you. So suppose that we have this conclusion P. So let us do this. So we realize that here the first two are the premises and this is the conclusion. It's very clear. And let us now construct a table again, right? So this is P, this is Q, okay? So there are 4 cases. All right, so this is P implies Q, okay? So let me write down the conclusion. And conclusion again is P. I did not to rewrite down this, but anyway, let's see everything clearly on this table. All right, so true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. Okay, so P implies Q will give you the usual results. Okay, so let us rewrite everything again. All right, so this is the conclusion. So this is the conclusion. So P implies Q, this is the premise 1, and Q is the premise 2. All right, so you see there are this is the first critical row. This is a critical row because premise 1 and premise 2 are both true. So this is a critical row. Now skip this second row, but the third row is again here a critical row. All right, and there's nothing anymore. So you see that here we have a problem. In case Q is true and P implies Q, so in case the premise 1 and premise 2 is true, that implies a false conclusion. So this is a problem. There is nothing here, but there is a problem here. So this is invalid. Okay, this is invalid because we have some problem here in this row. All right, so this is true, but the conclusion is false. Okay, thanks.